Hello, citizens of Unicron. Michael Bay said that Unicron is Earth. So
no. Somebody beat that. When Hasbro was doing their own station and they were doing Transformers Prime, they did Unicron as Earth first before Michael Bay.
I live my life by the Michael Bay timeline.
I'm sorry.
I've been indoctrinated after having to watch all five movies for the I Read Comic Book show that we did. I've been indoctrinated into the Michael Bay Transformers.
I've watched them all too, and I don't count Michael Bay. It's an alternate reality.
Do you watch them all in a row? Can you handle all of them in a row?
I watched them as they came out. Do I want to watch them all back to back? Fuck no.
It's
Daniel, because he watched. Did you watch them all back?
No, I didn't watch them back to back. We planned this like 2 months in advance. So
okay,
but and it is like 17 hours if you want to watch all just his films.
I can't live in that world.
That's crazy, and that's not even what we're talking about today. But go ahead.
Animated Transformers the movie, Bumblebee, Rise of the Beast. Outside of that.
What about?
I haven't seen Rise of the Beast, so I can't really.
It's fun. It's a lot. It's going to be better than any Michael Bay one you can probably see.
It's definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah.
I wanted to rewatch Beast Wars because I grew up on that, but man, the CGI just looks so bad.
Oh my god!
Like I expected it to look bad, but man, well, I guess it didn't look bad at the time. I know I enjoyed it as a kid. I love Beast Wars. Like that's why I was really hyped for the movie.
Well, it's like going back and watching 80s cartoons. You grew up thinking, oh, this was so awesome. And you go back like going, okay. But if you can sit through some of these cartoons, like, okay, I have a love for how bad and campy it is, not how good it was.
Yeah, sometimes you go back and watch stuff and I'm like, oh, this isn't as good. And maybe it's a little racist. Oh shit. Okay.
Maybe a little racist.
Well, I mean, I know it's way before your time, Daniel, but Clay might remember there's an old cartoon from Ruby Spears called Rubik's the Amazing Cube.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just it's weird because it's like they wanted to make a cartoon out of this toy that was, and then they're like, well, what if we put a person in it? And then it just is like it's straight up drug fueled, like it's right out of Sid and Marty Krofft because it's such a weird concept.
But it was one of the first times they ever did a Hispanic family, even though they didn't use Hispanic actors. A Hispanic family was the main core audience for the show.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't very good.
It wasn't horrible, but it's one of the things you're just kind of going, what the fuck? But when you fix the cube into all its colors, this little head pops up with 2 feet and has magical powers.
See, now I kind of want to show this thing I saw this past week. Are any of you guys subscribed to Paramount or the Star Trek channel on YouTube?
I just did because I wanted to watch the Paranormal Activity franchise, and then they dropped them all on October 1st.
Oh, what the? Like they dropped them for Halloween?
No shit.
That's
no
crazy.
Wonder that channel's in trouble.
I bet they licensed them like maybe last year for Halloween, and maybe their terms are only like a year, something like that. Probably happened.
Well, they've been doing a tribute to the old animated Star Trek. Stuff, and there's one called Walk Don't Run, and it takes like the current modern day animation of Below Deck and mix it with Filmation. It's so good. Like there's just one that's called Walk Don't Run that I wanted to play in here, but it's like 5 minutes, so too long.
Yeah,
I'll recommend it. It's so funny.
So Clay, I saw in the news that apparently they did another. I think it was either for another season of Shudder or for Drive-In.
Yeah, Joe Bob's got another year, so they booked him. I hope this means that Shudder will continue to be doing some of its own programming. But the thing is they have to hold on to the film. So like if Joe Bob will review a movie, and what he used to do was do a double feature. So you would get 2 movies that usually had something tied together. He would do commentary through both of them. You could watch the whole thing together, or you could just watch the film by itself, or you could just watch Joe Bob's not outtakes, but his segments.
Yeah.
Because those are all his. Sometimes you go there and there's only one movie. So Shudder isn't holding on to the license for all those films for all that content. So it's kind of a bummer because at times you just are getting piecemeal stuff.
Yeah.
Mm.
But next year he's only doing one, so there's going to be no more double features. He's doing another year. I'm excited for this, and really, it's the only thing that's keeping me subscribing to Shudder. Tubi is outperforming Shudder, and Tubi is free.
You're not rewatching all The Walking Dead? Oh, I guess that's not on there, huh?
That's AMC.
I hate to say it, but it's like I do kind of agree with the fans that the Glenn death, even though in the comics it's way different, Glenn's character in the show was this like point of hope, this character of hope who he wasn't so much as in the book. That was a different character.
Yeah.
So if you killed the hopeful character in the show, you just killed the vibe. I mean, and so it was really kind of tough to follow. And the fact that they put his killer with his wife in a show makes no sense. Like I do remember watching the pilot. She needs him and he needs her, kind of shit. But like in the end, he brutally killed Glenn, and
oh, not Ken.
Huh?
Oh man, yeah, that's crazy. I only watched the first episode. I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need to. I don't need this one.
Yeah. And I wasn't a big fan of the Daryl spinoff, the pilot for that either. You know, like I said before, a lot of it is in French and subtitled, and then they mix in religion and the apocalypse, and I'm like, well, here's a lot of shit nobody needs.
That part I like, but I'm not it's kind of getting samey. One insane thing that, like, in episode 1, it's supposed to be, that show takes place 18 years after the first episode of The Walking Dead, like in their timeline, which is nuts. Like, they've been on that apocalypse for 18 years, because in the flashback
they still get killed by zombies.
Yeah, you see baby Judith. She's like a teenager now, which we're like, wait, we were there in like season 2 or 3 when she was born, and now she's a
full-blown character. They jumped forward so that she was older.
Yeah, they did a time skip apparently, but I wasn't watching then. All right, let me get this train back on tracks. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the AHSOKA show, but that'll be a little bit later. First, as always, we want to just talk about stuff we've been watching, reading into. So, Clay, I'm going to throw it back to you. You got some fun stuff, I think. It is spooky season. I think I'm leaning harder into it this year, so let's go.
Started this week with Dawn of the Dead, which, if you can't find streaming online, it's on YouTube. So there is, I put a link in the show notes.
You must mean the original one.
The original Dawn of the Dead, not the Zack Snyder, James Gunn script one. If you like that one, I think you should definitely look at the original. It's got a lot heavier social commentary than, I mean, I don't feel like Zack Snyder had any social commentary in his as much as George Romero had in the Dawn of the Dead. And it goes straight from the newscasting studio to the few survivors they have, like living in a mall. And it's not the big group like you see in the Zack Snyder version. It's a very small group. And so it's kind of interesting to see them kind of cope and deal and see what's going on and just try to survive, even though they have everything in this mall. It's probably it's easily a top 5 zombie movie for me of all time. Like it's just one of the greats. I think Night of the Living Dead might have to be the number 1 of all time. I mean, the Romero films for me are always going to be the better zombie films, but I will drop a 28 Days Later in there because that kind of revived zombie films at the time that it came out, and no one had seen anything like it. I love those movies too.
Cool. Yeah. I'm excited. They're talking about a third one.
So, yeah, you have Day of the Dead. You're talking about 28.
A third 28 Days Later.
Yeah, 28 days, 28 months,
28 years, I think they're gonna call it.
Years, okay.
Yeah, they're thinking about because it was before the strikes, but Cillian Murphy was saying like Oh, if Danny Boyle calls me, I'll go make another one. So
wow, that would be wild for him to show up.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. I would be on board with that. I mean, I definitely love those movies. And the second film has probably one of the best openings to a zombie film ever. Robert Carlyle running for his life in that opening scene just fucking scares the hell out of me. It's so good.
Even the 20 days later, like that whole sequence of Killian walking around in empty London, like just yelling out for help, or like, you know, yelling out for people. That was really cool.
Yeah, because he goes for a long time until he gets to the church, and that's the first time you see someone move.
Yeah,
and it's so unsettling because it's in a whole pew full of just bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I finished Mystery Science Theater season 9, starting season 10 now. I'm just binging them all. I mean, if I've got the Gizmoplex, I'm just going to hang out in there and just watch them. I've never been a big Mike fan, so some of these are new to me. I've always been a big Joel fan, so I've watched all of his. But yeah, season 9, I'd say probably one of my faves was Puma Man, just because of the cast. I mean, it's just so wild. I'm going to point out a movie I really fucking loved that I watched last night called Unwelcome. It is, I guess it's folk horror. It takes place in England, and the star of it is Hannah Joy Kamen, who plays Ghost.
Oh,
she's Ghost in the
Ant-Man and Wasp.
Ant-Man and Wasp movie, and she's going to be in the what's the other movie? Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts. I forget. Yeah. So, Unwelcomed is a story of this couple who live in London. They go through a home invasion at the beginning of the movie, and then inherit this home that they travel out into the country to go live in, because she turns out she's pregnant. The husband wants to be protective of his family, so he figures, this would be a nice getaway from the city. And one of the women approaches her and says, I need to make sure that you promise me something. There is a legend of these little people that live in the forest. And I need you to put out an offering to them, a blood offering, every night. And
so the trailer for this.
Yeah, and so it's weird because if you look up the posters, like the movie does a great job of hiding the little people, but there are some posters that show them, so it's kind of wild.
Now,
I want to
pull it up.
Oh, I was going to say I have a trailer linked in there if you want to show some of it. Or do you think the trailer hurts us?
Yeah, just YouTube's been real assholes about. Well, I guess they're not being assholes, but yeah, they're being assholes about trailers.
Yeah, there you go. So, but Cole Meany is in this from Star Trek. He's done a ton of things.
Yeah,
he's done
O'Brien.
Yeah, but he plays like a gypsy who is a head of a family that's going to repair this house for them that they've moved into. So they're kind of a nemesis to deal with. They also have the guy that played Hodor from Game of Thrones is in it. He plays one of Cole's sons. They move out to this place. It's very like, I'm going to say that this movie is a mixture of Straw Dogs, the Peck and Paw film, and Gremlins. If that makes sense. If you put those two movies together, that's what this is, and it is fascinating. When shit starts to go down, it is probably the best part of it. Like, that's really the good, fun horror stuff. The home invasion stuff, the stuff that's real, is very haunting, because that shit can happen to you in real life. But when you see little people showing up doing shit, it's just almost fun, because it's like watching Stripe and all the gremlins kind of create havoc in this town, or not in the town, mainly around the house. Absolutely loved it.
All right, let's see. I'm looking at Letterboxd. Somebody's review says, "You got your ghoulies and my straw dogs."
Cheers, they got it right.
So if that sells you on the movie, interesting.
But, yeah, it is. It is a weird mixture of those two films because of the way it's set up. But the little creatures are so cool looking. Like that's the part that really got me because when you have a lot of,
Did they say what they're supposed to be, or?
I think they call them goblins on Letterboxd.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, they call them like red caps. They're like, I forget the other thing. There was like a term for them that was used in the film, but they're like fairy folk.
Okay.
Almost. But I'm trying to think of to describe their face. Do you remember the movie Cat's Eye?
The little villain that was inside the wall.
Yeah, there was a little creature. It kind of has that face.
Okay.
All right.
But there's like a bunch of them, and they shoot it really well because they look like these creatures are moving about. And so it looks like they've done forced perspective and had adults in the costume. And so when they're running around and stuff, they look lifelike. So it's not like stop motion or anything like from The Gate or like when the Gremlins invade the town and in Gremlins, it all looks really good.
So the director of this film is John Wright, who's also done Robot Overlords with
Ben
Kingsley and she's from the X-Files. What's her name? Is that Gillian Jacobs?
Gillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson. Gillian Jacobs is from Community.
Yes.
I kind of want to watch this Overlord movie instead.
This looks like a sci-fi film.
This looks like garbage.
How many stars does it have?
2.4. I mean, it's about the same rating as the other one. So yeah, the director doesn't have too many films. We have Tormented. Look at it. It looks like a sexy supernatural school.
That's weird. That looks like MTV trying something.
With the cheap, what's it called? A poor man's Tom Holland here in the middle.
Poor man's Tom Holland. That's brutal. But like his other one, Grabbers, I've seen that, and that's pretty good.
This director's consistent. 2.6, 2.5. This is probably the best one, apparently. So
yeah,
there you go. Cool. I love Letterboxd. It's such a fun website. All right.
And then I watched a really weird film called Something Weird. Yeah, I know. I mean, with that name, it better be weird. But it's from the 60s, and it's Herschel Gordon Lewis. So if you're into his films, it's wild. I would say if you're into his films, it's worth checking out because it's just on a different level. You got to be a really kind of hardcore horror fan to get into his stuff. I'm not
gonna play the whole trailer, but this is the first opening shot of that trailer.
Yeah,
that looks interesting. I don't know what's happening, but
yeah, it's weird because this guy he's hurt in an accident, but he gives him ESP for some reason. Like they had this whole electrocution scene that's set up at the beginning, and so he gets ESP, but then he meets a witch who wants to give him his looks back, but takes away his ESP. There's a lot of weird segments that just like you will see scenes at the beginning of the film that don't matter for a very long time in the film. Yeah, it's
interesting trade-off.
But this is okay. So I love like when you get a film like Manos Hands of Fate. The origin of that movie was that a guy bet another guy he couldn't make a movie. I love that origin of that film. That's why it makes it one of my favorites. Hard Rock Zombies is a film that was supposed to be within another film called American Drive-In. So they were going to have this film called American Drive-In that they shot footage for that was going to be on the screen. And they said, you know what? If we put a few more bucks into it, we could make a real movie out of this.
Put that bone in a broth. You got to stew, baby.
Exactly. That is exactly what they thought of this. And that's all they have. It says Hard Rock Zombies, but there isn't hard rock till maybe near the end of the movie. It's a lot of power ballads. It's really weird. None of the actors in it, or there's only a few actors in it that went on to do more stuff. The guy that wrote it only did this movie in American Drive-In. But it's a band that has discovered a song that if they play it, it'll bring things back from the dead. And so they go to this town to play a concert, and the city shuts it down. It says no rock and roll. Rock and roll is evil. And the band, one of the band members gives one of the groupies a cassette and says, "If I die, play this at our grave." So of course they all die, and it's real quick. They have funerals. They bury them. Even the business manager stays in town. And so she goes to the gravesite, plays this music. They all rise from the dead and perform a concert.
Wow.
It is pure 80s schlock. It's great for the music because it's kind of a throwback to that hard rock power ballad shit from the 80s. But this band essentially kind of becomes a dollar store Kiss, because they have like the zombie look, but then they put stars and shit on their face to look like Kiss.
trying to cash in.
But this is one of those so bad it's good movies. So if you need one of those in your life, Hard Rock Zombies is pretty fun.
Okay.
I think
so those are my Halloween, the first week of October Halloween picks.
Your Halloween watches are very different from what I'm watching.
Well, you got to give him credit because he's finding all the crap out there that nobody knows about.
I will say most of the stuff on Letterboxd was 2 point something. So if anything, you're consistent, Clay.
Hey, that's just people who are willing to take the time to go rate those fucking movies. You know, I mean, sometimes you just got to say, like, go watch Unwelcome. That's a great movie. Go watch, you know, like. But I will admit, like, Something Weird is pretty weird, and it's not a great film. But Hard Rock Zombies is not a great film, but it's fun as hell.
Nice. All right. We'll come back to talk about your comics. We'll probably talk about a few of them while Kyle goes. So, Kyle, why don't you go? 'Cause you got a bunch that I also read, so we'll probably start with the main event of the week.
Yeah. And thank God it's not Michael Bay.
I agree with that.
Yeah, this Generation 1, I mean, it's very generation, alternate reality Generation 1 Transformers. But the new Transformers #1 plays a lot into the original storyline, but has some different twists and stuff. So you deal with the fact that, like, in the book starts off with the fact that Sparkplug, Spike's father, apparently I don't think it said which war he fought in. It looks like almost like Vietnam or something. But
from that opening shot, like, it gives me Apocalypse Now vibes for sure.
Yeah, but right? Like he's so tortured by demons that he's basically drinking every day, and so his Spike has to find him in the bar in the morning. And Sparkplug's friend comes and takes him to work. Well, Spike, who is basically, you know, I guess he's into astronomy, has this huge, you know, that's the only reason why I might be willing to go pick all the multiple covers up.
I was going to say, you have 3 copies?
Well, I have 4 copies.
4 copies. Wow.
It's good. Look, first of all, thanks to our friends at Skybound that sent this over so we could take a look at it. But yeah, as you can see, they've already sold Kyle on it. So,
but anyway.
Oh, really? Well, you're not sold on it?
Well, I'm in on the story.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but Spike goes to
his house, yeah.
Which, again, like they do in a lot of things, they ethnically change one of the characters. So Carly, if you remember watching Generation 1, was this blonde, you know, from the original series, who's going to become Daniel's mother. But here I think she looks almost more like Hispanic or Middle Eastern, or even Asian. I wasn't paying attention, but yeah, but she definitely.
I love that.
I kind of dig it. Like, she's got
the van art.
Yeah,
that's such a sick van.
So they go to this mountain to go look at the stars, and an earthquake happens. They fall down, and they fall down right by where the rockets are for the Ark. So they go inside the ship, and they find all these dead robot bodies. Well, who shows up from the Void comic book? Jetfire, who basically says, I have enough energon to turn on Teletran 1, who can start repairing my friends. So in the original Generation 1 series, Jetfire / Skyfire was best friends with Starscream. Well, guess which robot gets automated first? Starscream. So Starscream comes up.
I was going to ask you about that. So is Jetfire typically a Transformer? Like, sorry, not a Transformer, an Autobot?
Yeah, well, yes. In most comic book forms, yes, because like in the original 80s Marvel one, he was created by the Autobots and brought to life by the Matrix.
Okay.
Yeah. And in that scene, Starscream is rebuilt, looks down at Bumblebee's dead body, and shoots Bumblebee in the head.
Oh, dude! Yeah, what the hell? I was very upset about that.
Well, yeah, I know. So the next one, and then basically Jetfire stops him from doing more, and what Starscream do just takes his blaster and shoots Jetfire right in the gut. Jetfire goes down, and you realize the next Transformer that Teletran 1 built was Optimus. Optimus just comes in and clotheslines fucking Starscream down to the ground.
You know, Daniel Warren Johnson loves a little wrestling, so like, man, whenever he can put it in there.
So,
dude, after the way he did Beta Ray Bill and Scuttlebutt, I was
yeah. That's right. I didn't think about that. Same artist. Holy shit.
I will say one thing that the Michael Bay movies really took away from was, especially with the Decepticons, was all the color, the coloring of them.
Yeah,
they really they kept a lot of it for the Autobots, but man, it was hard to tell the Decepticons apart. Because Starscream in the comics and in the old cartoon has a very distinct look.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, he made all the Decepticons look like
they all look like Megatron.
Well, no, and I don't. No, he makes them look like freaking Radio Shack rejects. I mean, they look like they're all appliances put together, whereas the Autobots at least had some kind of body structure. You know, and so.
Speaking of Radio Shack, the other one that comes up is Soundwave.
Yes.
So I made a video explaining like who all shows up, and then when Soundwave came up, I'm like, this robot typically is a micro recorder, and I was like, does that even translate now? Well, I
remember a few years back, I remember listening to a podcast with CM Punk on there, and he's saying about how he's done some of the what John Cena does. The not the Get Well, but the
the Make-A-Wish.
Make-A-Wish, yeah, but Make-A-Wish. So he goes to talk to this kid in the hospital, and he's starting to talk to the kid. He says, "What do you like?" "Oh, Transformers." And he goes. And the kid, this is like 2000, maybe 16 or 15. And the kid's like, "Who's your favorite Transformer?" He goes, "I like Sandwich." "Oh, what does he transform into?" And it seems like just stops there and goes, "How do I explain what a tape deck is to this kid?" He might know a CD player, but what the fuck? How do I explain a tape deck?
That was funny. But I really like that. I mean, I like the roster that we currently have, although we haven't seen everybody that's on the.
Well, no, and we're not sure they're going to get rebuilt because like it rebuilds Ratchet. And there's more Decepticons than Autobots, so they had to get them out of there. And Optimus is like, well, if I'm in new ground form, I should have a trailer. So they pack all the dead body of the Autobots in there so they can get out of there. And then I think it's Ratchet or Skyfire shoots Teletran 1 so they can't rebuild any more Decepticons.
Yeah, so at least we have like from this cover we haven't seen RC or what's his little one? Wheeljack. And then from the Decepticons,
we have seen all those.
From the no, we haven't. We haven't seen the bird. That's on the.
Oh, he's a bigger Rumble.
And then Rumble.
Yeah. We have seen Ravage. He ejected Ravage out of his chest when he got.
That's not Ravage though. That's the bird one.
No, I know, but Ravage was in the issue.
Oh yeah, Ravage was in the tape deck. Also, when I was looking for information for the video, Ravage, one of the features that it had on the notes was it's very loyal to Ravage is one of the most loyal to Megatron.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Also, where the fuck is Megatron?
Yeah,
because
he hasn't been rebuilt
yet. They almost name check him, and Starscream goes bananas when he's about to say,
"I'm now leader of the Decepticons."
Yeah,
but the thing, so like, they're able to save Carly and Spike, and they drive out, and then basically after Jetfire uses the last of his Energon to help stop Starscream and Skywarp from destroying them, he meets up with them, ends up dying, but they're in this quarry, and they're trying to figure out. And one of the most emotional things was you have Optimus. I think it's back on the ship. Optimus goes, "Bumblebee, no," and just basically brings him in, hugs him, and goes, "No," and like that Bumblebee's dead. So, but you realize at the very end of it, Starscream goes on a rampage because they need Energon, they need energy, and so he goes to where the energy plant where Sparkplug works, starts destroying stuff. Oh, it's one of the natives, and reaches down, and Sparkplug's kind of around the corner, and he grabs Sparkplug's friend, and I think he just crushes him. You realize off scene, he just destroys his whole body. It's like. This just got a bit dark.
Yeah, he just pops. I mean, he squeezes him until he just pops, and you're just like, well. I mean, that's the thing that got me with this book is like, this is not. Yeah, there it is, squish. I love the pure enjoyment that he gets from killing a human.
Yeah,
like we've never seen a Transformer go this dark, but I think it was a choice to kill Bumblebee because the most.
I don't know that Bumblebee's dead.
We don't. Yeah, no, yeah. only thing I know we might be limited by is the fact that when Skyfire is dying in Optimus's arms, he goes, "Let me bring out the Matrix," and Ratchet goes, "Optimus, the Matrix can heal, but it can't bring people back to life." So we're not sure how, you know, it depends on what lineage you're reading. Certain series or comic book, there have been times where the Matrix can give life to Transformers. So we're not sure where we are in this universe just yet.
Yeah, also, I guess I look at it like if you're going to kill a or commit acts of violence on a Transformer, Bumblebee is the most kid friendly, especially with the movie and stuff. So then that just shows like we're going to take a dark turn down this book.
Bumblebee's the one that always gets like killed or damseled in distress.
Well, and that's why we have Cliff Jumper on the cover. I wonder if Cliff Jumper is going to start taking that place in the series.
Yeah. So we'll see. Very excited. Also, once you get to the end of the book, if you thought you were getting too many comics already, they've also announced Duke
and Cobra
Commander that are coming out later on this year.
So far, the Void book, I'm still I kind of where they're going with that one, but this one they sold me. I'm on it.
Yeah, I dig this book.
If you want more detail, Daniel Warren Johnson did a stream where he kind of did like a director's commentary of like he went through every page and he was showing his layout, his original layout versus the final page, and talks about like some of the changes he made and stuff. So that's on his latest stream on his channel. Pretty cool stuff.
I will say this: did you guys talk about the Void number 4?
I think Jeff brought it up last week because we did. He mentioned that there was a bigger tie-in again to like all this stuff.
Yeah, so in issue 4, there's a segment where basically Sleazoid, the little lizard guy, has one of the Quintessons, and he takes him to Cybertron, and there's Shockwave, you know, the big Cyclops-looking purple gun dude.
Yeah.
And he basically, why are you bringing a Quintesson here? I hate Quintessons. And he goes, I need to feed my family. I need things like I don't have any energy or anything to give you. All the other Decepticons here on Cybertron are in stasis. So you realize that, like, you know, you have certain the Decepticons are come back to life on Earth, but then the original, like he was left to look after Cybertron in the Generation 1 cartoon. And here he's saying, there's no other Decepticons here but me, and they're all in state. I have to use what I have left to keep them in stasis and keep them alive. So it was like there's a little bit of a tie-in there. So
yeah,
I'm curious what the Decepticons' plans are on Earth, if they're going to start killing humans and just occupy it.
Well, I mean, it was after they finished off the first series of Marvel's in the 80s Marvel's comic book, they did a Transformers Generation 2, and there was another faction of Decepticons who basically shows up and they basically annihilate Earth. Like literally, there was a little bit cross. This is when Megatron became a tank, and they basically used a ship to basically annihilate Earth. I mean, humans were killed in the comic book series, the second series of wave of comic books in that.
Damn, who was writing the Marvel run of Transformers?
I don't know.
They're very angry at the world.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love. Look, I'm probably gonna make a couple more videos about Transformers, so stay tuned in the channel. We have a review. We have all the Transformers that you saw in the first issue, and some that you didn't. So
Bill Mantlo started it, Jim Stahlkrupp, and Bob Budinsky, Simon Furman. So four writers during that whole run, but Bill Mantlo just did the first 2. Jim Stahlkrupp just did the next 2.
Gotcha.
And all that stuff is really hard to find now. Like just to read it because of the licensing. Like even IDW stuff is tough. If you didn't get it, good luck.
If you go to like certain comic book conventions, finding back issues of the 80s Transformer stuff isn't all that hard.
Yeah, because people look at it as an older comic, but it's never been collected. I know.
Yes, it has. They collected all of IDW did a whole bunch of collection of the Marvel stuff. And I think you can find the trade paperbacks at Madness.
And if you ever picked up one of those Transformers Humble Bundles, be cool and share it with your friends, because those are not available digitally, like almost like anywhere. There's very little digital stuff for Transformers. So
yeah.
All right. What else, Kyle? Because there's a big week, I think.
Yeah, so I read X-Men Volume 6, number 27. This one was kind of interesting because it has Shadowcat breaking into one of the prisons, and she's trying to free people. So she runs into Juggernaut, and he goes, "Jiminy Cricket!" and and she's like, "Wait a second, I got to go see if I can free anybody else." And she goes to find Cyclops and realizes that they've sewn his eyes shut. And
that's some dark shit.
Yeah. And I didn't realize who Stasis was. I said, this guy looks a lot like, right there.
Whoa.
Pretty fucked up.
But I didn't realize who Stasis was and realize I didn't realize he looks like a version of Sinister. You come to find out he's a clone of Sinister. So
yeah, all those there's a lot of Sinister.
I read about that. Yeah. So, but basically, she goes in and realizes, can I free him? And she phases into a Cyclops and realizes, oh no, they've got some kind of like thing said to him that if I free him, he'll explode, like he'll die. So they got his body booby trapped.
Yeah.
So she goes in.
So
she goes in and frees Juggernaut and says, I need you to wait before you escape. Let me get out of here and free some other people. And then you find out later in the issue when Stasis is talking to Firestar that basically he broke out, but then Nimrod beat his ass down again into submission. And he goes, and Stasis is like, yeah, we need to, we can't pacify him anymore. So what he's going to do, he realizes that the crystal, the Cybertech crystal, is inside him. I'm going to do surgery on where I'm going to basically amputate his body and take the crystal and put it inside me.
Dude,
sick bastard.
And this is all still Fall of X storyline, right?
Oh yeah. No, the greatest part was you have Rasputin, who's the new like genetic clone of Colossus and a whole bunch. Go with Sync, X-23, and there was one more. And they take a car. They go to see the Fantastic Four, who's also kind of outside of New York, because they're still being blamed for the Baxter building being disappeared.
I think Rasputin's the first one that is 5 different. She's a chimera of 5 different mutants. I think it's Nightcrawler, Colossus, Magic.
It's a funny shit because she walks up and there's Ben fishing. He goes, "Hey, you can't just come up here," and she just goes, "Bam!" and knocks his ass out of the area. And they're like, "Oh shit!"
I'm glad they brought her back from the Sins of Sinister stuff. Like that, she stuck around. She was a cool character because we saw her at the beginning at the House of X Pirates of 10. So
wait, no, it was Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's with them. That's right.
Yeah.
And so they're there to talk to Reed because they remember that Xavier, when they did that last X-Men versus FF run, that basically Xavier wiped his mind on how to block stuff with the mutants. And Miss Marvel knows, and she basically says, Xavier told me to tell you this, blah blah blah, and she triggers something, and then basically it's Reed going, now I remember. He says, I remember it's the Terrigen Mist. He goes, the Terrigen Mist is if you use too much, it can basically kill you. But if you use just a little bit, it can hide and subside the mutant gene in your body. That's how he was able to kind of hide stuff with Franklin and stuff. So he goes, now let me redo this.
Reveal. I mean, that's definitely a retcon, but it's interesting.
Yeah. The Terrigen Mist was a bad idea when it came out, but now if they play with it like this, that's a cool concept.
Yeah, but he says now he tells Miss Marvel, let me know if you're ready. I can help you. I can help you basically do it to where you can upload. You can I can help you expose your X gene power. And she goes, give me time. I need time to kind of retcon everything that's going on. So it's
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're reading an X-Men book.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
He's ready for them to just go back to the school.
Oh yeah.
I think it's gonna be a while till they
we'll see.
I know it looks like Krakoa's over, and maybe it is, but I think it's gonna be a while till they get back to some kind of school.
I don't think I didn't get a chance. I wasn't on the episode, but like I said, I'm kind of, or I don't think I talked about it. I'm digging where the new Nightcrawler Spider-Man book.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
it's a fun book. It's so opposite of the Fall of X.
Oh yeah.
Until it won't be, because
because really the Fall of X, we might have the death of Krakoa. I mean, that would have to happen for them to not have a place to live anymore.
Please kill the damn island.
Wow.
You don't have to kill
What if they because I'm trying to remember when Krakoa becomes like so sentient that that they live on it and then can travel through tunnels
back in Giant X-Men #1.
But it wasn't alive the way it is.
I don't know.
It was alive, but I mean, in the sense that it was communicating and talking to the X-Men and became a place for them to live.
Before,
like they could put the island and put the school on it instead of in New York. I don't know. There's like I'm already to the Fall of X in terms of like if they reboot the X-Men, where are they going to live? What are they going to do? How's it going to happen?
Apparently, I haven't been reading it. I only read something a little bit out of Alpha Flight, but apparently the Mars or whatever they're calling it, Mars now is in Civil War, and I was like, whatever.
If they're gonna get rid of Krakoa, just please make sure to get my boy Cypher out of there first, because Krakoa took him in to keep him safe from everything that was about to happen. So I need Doug Ramsey to be okay. So all right, what else, Kyle?
Master of the Universe Forge of Destiny #2. This one is basically they're still going on. Where basically the I know I'm blanking on what they're fucking called, the blue race. But basically, Skeletor is still trying to get this power. Randor is being blamed for the Antoir race for killing their prince, and Tila. And then basically you have Adam, who basically Tila's still calling you a coward. So what does he do? He changes in the city when they're all being attacked, becomes He-Man, starts saving their lives. And they're like, "What's he doing here?" But you realize they all realize we need him to save us. So they're about to go on this trip where Man at Arms is telling Randor that your son's actually being brave and try to go to save their prince. And so you see the scene of Adam walking with He-Man, and they get on this boat until Tila jumps on and basically does something, and you realize that the Adam that was there was fake, and you just have He-Man going, "Ah, crap," and then you see like Adam, so you're not sure where they're going exactly, but you realize that the prince, and I forgot this, he was an Antoine character, is going to become the character Cyclone, because they're doing all the cybernetic enhancements on him, and in the original series he was that guy who could do tornadoes and stuff. So
we're seeing the origins of some characters.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm still waiting to see where they're going with Skeletor in this one, because in some lineage Skeletor was from another dimension, and then once he was an Antoir, he was basically the unwanted half brother of Randor, who became Skeletor. So it's like I'm not sure if he's going to be a member of that race or not, but they're basically thought as the unworthy race because they're all blue skinned in the universe. So they're like it's almost kind of like a racist kind of storyline going on.
When they're the Kree.
When they pitched this book, it was kind of like He-Man Year One.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I think that's why we're seeing a lot of those. So yeah, cool. All right, what else?
Let me see. Birds of Prey, Volume 5, #2. I had a lot of fun reading this one. I mean, the art's a little more cartoony, but
good.
Yeah, you've got Canary, who's trying to basically save Sin, who's been taken to Themyscira, and so she's brought together. What's her name? The sword wielding chick from Wildcats.
Sell it.
Yeah, Sell
it. So it's Cass from Batgirl, Sell It. Barda and Harley. And there's someone else that's not on the cover. She's kind of like a magic character, but I don't know her name.
But what I love it at the end of it, you realize that they're trying to. We got to find some way to get on Themyscira and without having underwater. And so what Harley goes, I've got a way to do it. So she calls me and says, "You owe me a favor." So they're on this boat, and who shows up? You see,
hello, Nanawe.
Yeah, Nanawe shows up, and all these sharks go, but then out of the water jumps this gigantic Megalodon. And he goes, look, I guess I'm king of the sharks, but Megalodons are sharks too, so I guess I'm king of the Megalodons. And you have Harley Quinn go, no, you have Canary go, help, and you see it cursing, so it's like
he's still around. Hey, Nanawe. Yeah, I love this book. I think Kelly Thompson. I think she does very good with with, like groups of different, like putting a group together. We see a little bit of magic. We see Constantine in here. They go into like this.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They go into like this magical market where they all kind of end up meeting. I haven't read much Sell It, so that's a character that I'm interested in like learning more about, because I think she's from Stormwatch or something, or
Wildcats.
Yeah. So Wildcat. So I'm not very familiar with the.
She's just kind of an assassin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Romero's art. It's very like throwback to the classic stuff. I love their stealth outfits.
Yeah.
Because of course they got to change into like more discreet.
This art is so great. Like
it's really good.
I knew Leonardo Romeo was, so I had to look it up.
Yeah.
It's great art.
The only character I really ever resonated with outside Wildcats was Grifter.
He had the cool mask.
Yeah.
Jim Lee knew how to draw the shit out of a.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I thought the art was spectacular, but I just never really got into the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because like now that they've kind of integrated it, I wonder if they just wiped out what the Wildcats were, their history, their origin, and maybe somebody will come in and tell it.
I read some of it, but they're still using it.
So there are still aliens who've come to Earth.
Yeah, was it a Spartan or whatever his name? The main leader is still a cybernetic human, and then you have who's the big guy who could grow with had the horns out of the back? Or
I know I always want to call him the Max, but
Yeah,
that's kind of what he gives me vibes of. I can't remember.
Yeah, they still have not Warblade. It was Warblade was Warblade. No, see, I can't remember the damn names now. He was like the Wolverine, like had his blades. You know, he had the alien that made his hands into blades.
Cyblade. Is that it?
I can't remember. There was also the fucking Mark Silvestri book, Cyberforce, which had like another guy who had the same kind of hands. I just don't remember which was one. One was Cyberblade, one was Warblade. I just don't remember which one was which.
Yeah. God, I'm looking at him now. God, I didn't realize there were so many team members because you've got Lord Imp, Spartan, Grifter, Voodoo. Yeah, Voodoo was my favorite because Voodoo was just a stripper who had like these weird alien powers. And Alan Moore wrote a miniseries with Al Del Rio doing the art on that. Maul was the big one
That's right.
Yeah. Warblade was he was like liquid metal, kind of like the T2 character. Void and Mr. Majestic. Ladytron was probably my favorite design of all the characters because it just was like, I think she only had the human part was her head, but like from her jaw down was just all robotics.
Just real quick, Delacama was talking a little Krakoa in the chat, and I think in the future Krakoa was a kind of like a humanoid fighting Nimrod in that Powers of X or Powers of 10 series, which I didn't remember that, but very cool. Cool. And I think you have one more book.
Yeah. Peacemaker Tries Too Hard, number 6.
Is this the end of the series?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now I can read it.
Yeah. So basically, I like how because they sort of retconned everything a little bit. Because I guess you realize how many times the multiverse has changed because in issues 4 and 5, you realize one of them he teams up with an all-star squadron, Red B.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Yeah, and it's badass, and it just the issue ends with everybody coming to his birthday, and the way everything falls into place is just like fuck. And it's like I said, he's drawn as John Cena, and he's basically talking like John Cena. So it's like this is a freaking. If you love the TV series, you're gonna love this book.
Good.
Yeah, Kyle Stark is really good at doing like the funny superhero stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I was excited to read this one, and it's Black Label, so they can do whatever they want. Like there's no continuity or whatever.
I think if Peacemaker ever is a book, it has to be Black Label.
Well, you have the part like you have the Suicide Squad, you have a Noe, you have Boomerang, you have Deadshot, and you have Harley Quinn there with Amanda Waller at his birthday party, in his fucking trailer house. And it's like, why do we have to be here? It's like, I don't want to be here any more than you do, but he did save the world, so we have to at least give him this.
All right. Yeah, we've emailed Kyle Starks, who told us to email him after New York Comic Con. Maybe we can get him on the show.
Nice.
Cool. Let me talk about some of the comics that I read. I'll be brief because I know we're running long and I do want to get to our main stuff. I read, this is Rangers Academy #1, a new book from Boom Studios. It's pretty fun. I didn't know that the Power Rangers had an academy, but I'm down to check out anything that happens like in a school.
Due to the fact we have the Power Rangers multiverse now,
yeah, really cool art. A few cadets like crash land into a moon, and they meet another person, and they take them back to the academy to become a ranger, or I guess she kind of smuggles aboard. You know, however you want to look at it. One of my favorite things going on right now at DC, this new Blue Beetle series. Oh my god!
Oh god, yeah,
it's so good.
I read this too, but I figured somebody else would be talking about it.
Yeah, this is. I want to know more about this blood scarab that's like kind of hunting down all the beetles now. Really fun stuff. I picked up the Alien Annual. I haven't read it though, but this is the Daniel Warren Johnson cover, so more Daniel. It's kind of hard to see, but very cool. We talked about this book last week, The Devil That Wears My Face. Go check out a review. Really good stuff, especially if you were disappointed by the Exorcist movie, as I'm seeing a lot of reviewers are. Maybe go check that out.
Yeah, I saw someone who just went all in and talked about how they bought the franchise. They spent all this money so that they could do these films, and this first one is total shit.
This guy, what's his name? The director, Gordon Green or something? David Gordon Green, I believe that's his name, because he did the Halloween.
Oh, he's doing this too?
Yeah.
God, that third Halloween movie was real shit.
Yeah, but I also feel like I heard that all these Exorcist movies are already kind of like mostly shot anyways. So at this point, they're just gonna probably release them, whether this one makes money or not. I mean, if not, maybe throw it on a streamer. Whatever. I'm not too big on the Exorcist franchise, so race the like I've mentioned before. Me and Matt Murdoch raised Catholic, so I still although I'm
Exorcist
not
3
practicing.
is Exorcist 3 is one of the few sequels of that franchise that is just as good as the first one.
I've heard good things about that one. That one's like, does that take place partly in Africa?
I'm
Or am
trying
I
to
thinking of
remember
the
because
fourth one?
I just remember them meeting in
Okay.
that cell.
All right. I need to talk about this book, Batman 138. Batman crossed the fucking line.
I read this. I read this too.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna say he messed with Jason in a way that it's not very ethical and it's not cool, and I don't appreciate it. And I think in this Gotham War, now
in a slightly different way, he also messed with Damian a little bit too.
Oh yeah. Now I know that it's a lot of it is the Surinor Batman that's in his head, but I don't know how they're gonna come back from this. It's gonna be
it'll be. He was never going to win Best Dad of the Year, but it's going to be a long time after this that he can even be looked at as even Stepfather of the Year.
You know what? You know what's funny too? That there's the Batman and Robin ongoing that just started, where Bruce and Damian are like they move in together, and I was gonna say roommates, but they're just a family that lives together. But I don't know what the time frame is between that and this, so like it'll be interesting to see how the relationship.
I'm hoping it's after.
Yeah,
maybe in my head, it would make sense for him to have him move in with them after all this shit's gone down.
After they recover from everything. Yeah. Also picked up the DC's Ghouls Just Want to Have Fun. This is a black and white.
Oh,
it's a glow in the dark cover. So obviously I can't show you, but I live for a gimmick. It's got some really fun stories. It's got a story about Red Hood and Nightwing hunting down some supernatural stuff. It's got a Green Lantern story with Etrigan, written by Kenny Porter, who I love. It's got a question story, and then a story where Lobo just wants to try on different Halloween outfits.
Oh my god! Yes.
So Lobo and his daughter Crush are out there trying to find the perfect Halloween outfit for Lobo.
Oh, that's so good. I wish he. I kind of wish he would dress up like Aquaman, hinting at Jason Momoa becoming Lobo.
Oh, then my friend, you're not the only one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hold on.
Because Metamorpho was a pretty great look right there.
Oh, he goes through many outfit changes. Clay, hold on one second. Let me see if I can. I'm pretty sure I saw. Yeah,
Aqualad. Oh yeah,
nice.
I knew that was a very interesting like joke of like, oh yeah, Jason Momoa can probably be Lobo too afterwards. And then he's also dressed as Eddie the Eagle.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I love these anthologies. They're so much fun.
After seeing Momoa in Fast 10 and seeing how good he is as Aquaman, it only makes sense for him to be Lobo.
Now, let me talk about the book that I read this week. And Clay, this is also on your list, so I'm just going to bring it up.
Yeah, let's get into
because I read it. I enjoyed it. I need to read it again because I don't know that everything makes sense. But I mean, that's the nature of the beast. When you talk about a Jonathan Hickman book, I read The New Gods, #1, Marvel's $10 book.
Yes. It priced me out of that anthology you were just showing because I was like, I'm going to get this because it's Hickman. It's the beginning. I want to be on board. But then I was just like lost, and it's a lot of stuff. But I mean, it's a 64-page book because it's $10, but it's Hickman he's doing a Claremont. He's just dropping those storylines out there that he'll come back to in a year, 10 years, who knows when.
So, I mean, even the second issue doesn't come out for a few months. So, yeah, they're going to be working on this for a little while. But it follows Wynn, who is like the envoy of like natural order of things or something like that. It's very high concept, very heavy, very Hickman.
Very.
I mean, Valerio Schitti's art is fucking phenomenal. So
that's what keeps me in that book is the art is so amazing. I love that style.
And I love the whole caper of like everybody's trying to stop this big thing from happening In the meanwhile, Win, who's our main character that we're following along, or one of the main characters, he's doing his own little machinations. It felt very John Constantine of like, I know how to do this, but I have to do it by myself in a different way. But it's very different, but that's just kind of the feeling. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. But it is definitely, I can see people waiting for this to be like on Marvel Unlimited or something, because
I would definitely wait.
It's a high point of entry, but wanted to check it out for the channel. So
I mean, it's like now as we're going through Fall of X, people want to go back to Power of X and look to see like, where are we at? Are we going to drop some of those hints? That's what Gods does. Gods plants a lot of those seeds that we'll see pay off in like 10 years.
Yep. And then the last thing I forgot before. So if you go to the shop this weekend, you can pick up your what are they calling it this year? They're not calling it Halloween. Oh, your Trick or Read comic books.
Trick or Read.
So IDW.
So we got some Star Wars.
Yeah, I got some Star Wars, IDW,
Moon
some
Knight.
Marvel stuff, Moon Knight, Dark Spaces from IDW. So did DC not put out a book for this? Maybe I need to go back and check. But yeah, these are free. It's kind of like very similar to Free Comic Book Day, but they do it for Halloween. I don't know if it's just, I think it's this weekend, but my shop had them out, so I grabbed a few.
Yeah, we've been looking for. We get comic book covers for our anniversary every year. We try to find a Halloween themed one, and I know Star Trek has started their Halloween, so it's like holodeck, tied into, and so they've got some great covers that are coming.
They do. All right, Clay, I'm gonna throw it back to you to finish up some of these comics that you have, and then we'll talk about one comic preview that we got for next week, and then get into our main topic.
Okay. We did Transformers. We did Gods. The Infield Gang from That Texas Blood spinoff, like a prequel. It's a great setup. I'm kind of curious to where it's going to go. But I mean, again, when you're dealing with crime comics, everyone out there is chasing Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This is a close second. This is one of my favorite.
Chris Claremont and Jacob Phillips are a great team too. So,
and then one of the previews we had was Antarctica. Did you read this?
I did. It was a nice setup that I'm gonna read once it's all done.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, because it sets everything up with this girl whose whose father has died out at a research station in Antarctica, and she's kind of lost her way in life, but she finds her one purpose is to get out there and solve this murder.
Yep.
And so that first issue just kind of takes you through her journey to get there. And she's there for like a few pages to kind of get the feel and tone of what this station's going to be like. Yeah. The art was okay.
There was a sequence at the beginning that I really enjoyed. It's like, as she grows up, like there's it's kind of how they show passage of time, and it's like the same, very similar rectangle with like her at different ages and going through different things. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the art work, it's serviceable for the book. It's not the main draw, but it's definitely.
Yeah, it's one of those where I go, does this art go with this story? And I'm not 100% sure yet. It's only the first issue. I feel like the artist is going to have a lot of cool stuff to play with in Antarctica. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm hoping to see from that book.
Yeah, because that last page, that kind of reveal in the gear and all that, I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, it's been a little while since I read it because it came out maybe like a month ago.
Yeah, I was trying to get caught up on some of our review reads.
That's cool.
Guardians of the Galaxy 6, The Origins of Grootfall. I'm not 100% sure I understood everything that was going on. This book was started as 1 year later, something's happened to the Guardians. They're getting back together, but they're different versions of the Guardians. Like Mantis is closer to like the movie version than the Celestial that she is in the comics. Like, keep them separate. Like, keep her who she is in the books. Like, I hate when I hate it sometimes when they just take a fully developed character that's had decades of history and they go, well, yeah, but the movie version. And they just try to do that. Like she already had a history and stuff going on, but it looks like they're also messing with her mentality in this one because she has different looks and styles. I was kind of on board until the 6th one, and I'm not 100% sold on this series. I don't know. Anyone else read it?
So I read the first one.
I've been skimming through it.
Yeah, I read the first one, and I was like, okay, Western Guardians, I get it. And I like Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing. I like their writing. I like other stuff. But this one, I don't know. I think I will say as much as I love the Guardians movies, they really did damage a lot of like the comics because I want the comics to be more like. It's one of the rare instances where I'm like,
well, how many times are they gonna get back together? I mean, seriously, just stating, it's.
You got a lot of real moody people in that group.
Exactly. Like, and it doesn't have to be that same core group. It can be
let's go to the future.
Can switch in other people, like
Vance Astro, Starhawk, Martin X, Charlie. Let's go back to the original.
That's why I like the Donny Cates run, where like even though for whatever flaws it had, that especially making Groot talk. I don't know how I feel about that. But at least it tried some different characters, right?
Exactly.
Like Dragon and like other weird characters. So
I like that. That was good.
There's so many cool cosmic characters out in Marvel. I feel like the Guardians shouldn't limit themselves to just the main or if you're gonna do that, make it feel like the movie, so I can at least enjoy that piece of it.
Yeah, because they even hint at Moondragon being Drax's daughter, but he doesn't call her daughter. He goes, she is in a sense like my daughter. Yeah. And I'm like, are they going to like separate who is related and who is family? But then they even show Drax in his room with his saxophone, which is like a throwback to his origin. So I'm not 100% sold on this. Of all the recent runs, I mean, Jerry Duggan is probably my favorite because Aaron Cooter does all the great art in that run. And then that Donny Cates run.
Al Ewing was interesting, I think, but still not my favorite.
Al Ewing wanted to do a cosmic story where the Guardians were supporting characters.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's kind of what he does. I'm surprised. I will say, if you want a good Al Ewing book, go read the Immortal Thor. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So good.
So are you saying that over Immortal Hulk?
Yeah.
Only because I like. Well, I mean, it's hard to tell because it's only two issues. They have very different vibes. That's the thing. Immortal Hulk was very horror. This one's really leaning into like the mythology of the character as a god, and then what lies beyond gods, right?
I don't know. I'm past the Hulk. I want to go back to just Banner and puny Banner, Hulk fighting army stuff. I want to go back to 80s and 90s stuff. I'm kind of getting a little burnt out on like what they're trying to do with the fucking,
We're gonna give Kyle a Marvel Unlimited subscription for Christmas. He can read all those old books.
Yeah, but I mean, what about the Donny Cates Hulk run where Banner goes in search of like the monsters in the multiverse? Like, I kind of dug that. Did you read that take?
I don't think I did.
Well, I'd say that's really worth.
Are you talking about the latest one?
Yeah, that was like 14 issues.
It's what's his name? Philip K. Johnson. Donny Cates ended with the war. Well, Ryan oddly finished it, but it was like the whole Planet of the Hulks thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like this Monster Hunter thing. I think it's a fun concept.
And then the last book is another preview we got, which was The Cull by Kelly Thompson.
Yes,
probably one of my favorites. Absolutely loved the art. The art and the story complement each other. It's a perfect fit, and I really am kind of excited to read the next couple of issues of this.
At first, I had a little uncanny, like the artist is so good that it's a little uncanny valley.
Yeah,
but I think it serves the story too. But yeah, I love. I mean, you can go check out the video for my full thoughts on it. But we have a review for that. But yeah, I just sent you the previews for 2 and 3, so you can get caught up because 3 comes out this upcoming Wednesday.
Okay, good.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just a group of girls. I mean, it started off and it gave me like Paper Girl vibes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but they're a little bit older, and again, like the art of this book is fucking amazing.
It has like this little Stranger Things type of vibe where they're up to shenanigans, but then more of a sci-fi thing than horror. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. If you catch up by next week, then we can talk about the other two issues because I don't want to give anything away.
Done.
I
I
want you to
also think
enjoy
we
it.
should put, like, for October, we should all like talk about Immortal Hulk if we haven't read that, because that the body horror of that book would be a great Halloween topic.
I tried reading it, I could not get into it.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, all right, is that it, Clay?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Now, as we've been doing for the past few weeks, we got a preview for a new comic book. So we're gonna talk about Clay and I are gonna talk about it for a little bit. We're gonna talk about A Haunted Girl. This is a new book from Image Comics that's coming out next week, which would be the 10th. Oh no, the 12th. Yeah, October 12th. This is by Ethan Sachs and Naomi Sachs, with art by Marco Lorenzana, colors by Andres Mosa, letters by Jaime Martinez, from Image Comics. Clay. Oh shit. Hold on. I didn't pull up the synopsis. It's okay. This will look way better in the edit. That's the magic. You guys are seeing how the sausage is made, and it's not pretty.
You got it?
No, hold on. Oh, shit. I hate the way they do this because it's Image, but it's also like Top Cow or something.
Well, Top Cow's always been like a publishing house under Image.
Yeah. But I'm having a fart.
But it's weird that he went to them, because I guess I mainly know them for like Aphrodite and some, like, more TNA type books.
Okay, here we go. All right. So in this book, this is a miniseries. In this book, Cleo, an adopted 16-year-old Japanese American whose depression drove her to near suicide, is trying unsuccessfully to reintegrate back into her old life, but her struggles are just beginning as she encounters an increasingly terrifying succession of ghosts. Is she losing her grip on reality, or is the explanation much, much worse? Which sounds like a really interesting premise, if I do say so. Like,
yeah,
I think it's very cool. So, Clay, what did you think about this first issue?
I love Ethan Sachs, and I was curious like who he was writing with. This is a great setup for a series, and I'm surprised that it's only 4 issues. But if you read in the very back of this comic, Ethan Sachs wrote this with his daughter, who is going through what the character is in the comics. She was very depressed, and being a parent, Ethan was trying to, how do I deal with this? Mm-hmm. And I think he says in his letter that he started with a story about a girl who's depressed, but she's the only one that can save the world.
Yep, that was the pitch.
And then he worked with his daughter to tell the story. So it's very triggering for people in the suicide talk. So that's probably one of the big trigger warnings I would give out for this book. Normally I wouldn't, but this very much deals with that as an issue of her character.
Yeah.
And there's a panel in there where the father and daughter are on like two sides of a door, where you just like, he wants to help her so much and she just can't let him in. Like, there are moments in there of the father-daughter relationship in the first issue that kind of cement those characters. Yeah. So I love Ethan Sachs' works. This is something very different from his Old Man Hawkeye and his Star Wars stuff. So I'm definitely on board. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, I definitely. So I went into this book not knowing, like, I didn't read the synopsis. I usually when we get a review copy like this, I don't look into it at all, right? I just kind of let me go into the book and see if the book accomplishes to tell me everything that it should want to tell me. And I think this one does, right? It starts out with a very supernatural type of aspect. Like, I was getting like vibes of like The Ring, or what's the other movie?
The Grudge.
The Grudge, yeah, just stuff like that. Because we do start in Japan.
Yeah, it's very real world with only a few moments of supernatural. So the first issue just hints at it.
Yeah, we get a little bit to see here. We don't know what's going on. We see some like I actually like that. You know how sometimes in comics they'll do like the bubbles and then it'll say like translated from. In this case, they actually show you the actual language and then they translate it at the bottom, right? So you can kind of get into it. So I thought that was cool. I love the color palette. Really gives you like that, like something's off. To me, it feels like that. So yeah, I thought that was very good. And then I also love that panel that you talked about. I didn't pull it for the preview, but I did pull some other stuff. Here we see Claire with one of my favorite sound effects in comics, the big crack-a-doom. And yeah, things like it gets horror very quickly. Like I didn't really know where it was gonna go.
Well, like that page before gave me the supernatural vibe, how she had drawn this circle, and you see her break the circle because of a lot of the times when spells are set that there's a circle that you have to stay in to be safe, and she breaks the circle and leaves it.
Yeah, I didn't. So when I was looking at this in this panel, you see this character that's just kind of standing there, and I was reading on my iPad and I zoomed in, and you can see like all the scars from like you later on figure out that this apparition is I guess a woman that's recently died and they're kind of closing her up from surgery. But all those little details, like that was really cool. And then from there, like, you know, having to try to reintegrate back to real life and going to school and like just dealing with all that stuff. Yeah, I thought it was very well done. And then getting to the end and reading that letter or the letter from Ethan Sachs saying like, this is something that me and my daughter are writing. You know, she's in a better place now, but like at the moment when this was conceived, the idea, like they were going through very hard times. So it's cool that they just kind of also raise awareness for stuff like that in the comic medium. Like you can really use it to express a lot. I think it's also cool that to work with your family in this way. I think like to create something for both of you to deal with your trauma and the problems. I think that's really really interesting as well. So yeah,
it's really like you're tearing down these walls to share the story so that like Ethan can kind of like see what his daughter's gone through and where she's at. Like, it's very tough, like to talk about mental health issues in this way, but he's like digging at the core of it with someone who's gone through it. Yeah. And I've been in a mental hospital for mental problems and stuff. And it's tough because you go in, you focus on trying to get better, and then you have to go back out into the real world and learn those things and try to continue and survive. Everything's a day-to-day thing.
Any kind of healing is like you go back into their normal routine, and now you also have to relearn how to do that. So yeah, very interesting book. If it's only 4 issues, that we'll definitely keep following it along. So we may talk about this once it's all done. And you know, so it also, of course, has some really cool covers, which you'll see in a second. But overall, really enjoyed it. Thanks to our friends over at Image for sending this over. And yeah, I want to see where this
sharing a story like this. This is a very personal thing.
It definitely, sometimes creators share stories like this, and I'm like, should I even be reading this? Like, is this for me? Right? So yeah, very much
appreciate. But hopefully it's for a kid that's on that same path and find some healing through it.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, that was a very good book to review. So, and here you can see some of the covers. Hopefully I kind of want the third one with this apparition looking thing. So, all right. Now let's do our show, our actual show. Everything else was just a warm up.
An hour and 20 minutes of warm up.
Yeah. You know what? Before we get into AHSOKA, let's do like 5 minutes of Loki. Did you watch it, Kyle? Are you watching Loki?
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome. Great. All right, we're going to go into spoilers. So you've been warned for Loki spoilers. First of all, I'm really glad they're putting it out on like the evening, the day before, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, instead of Friday mornings.
Well, they did the same thing with AHSOKA.
Yeah. First of all, as somebody who makes videos about those shows, I appreciate the extra few hours because I can watch it at night, work on everything, and have the video out the next day.
Yeah.
But man, this feels like we just picked up where we left off last season.
Yeah.
Like, no, the they did such a good job with the recap too. Like I
Yeah,
knew
you don't have
everything
to
I needed
rewatch
to.
the first season.
Yep, and it's a short season. You could rewatch it because it's only like these are 6 episodes seasons. This one's also gonna be 6. So, but everyone just didn't miss a beat. I think. Oh yeah, Leonard came in the chat. But yeah, one of the best decisions that Disney made was that time change. I agree. I think it just gives us a because that way we get to talk about it for like the whole weekend or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
for the whole next few days. But yeah, the cast. I mean, Tom Hiddleston just continues to be amazing as Loki. Owen Wilson is so fun. Like he's so good at that role. It's fucking insane.
Yes, I love Owen Wilson in the MCU. It's so weird that he plays Mobius, but
I know
it's a great fit, and he brings life to this character who's just kind of this otherworldly time accountant type person.
Yeah, it's like the company, man, and we get the introduction of Ki Hugh Kwan as Obi, aka Ouroboros,
which that was amazing.
Which was the name of the episode, and that whole sequence of Loki in the past.
Yes,
So Loki's time skipping. So Loki's in the past talking to Obi, and then Owen Wilson's Mobius is in the present talking to him, and them going back and forth and talking like.
I love that.
Like he'd be there like, I don't know what you're talking about. Wait a second. How do I remember this? How do I have this like extrapolator or anything? It's just like, oh my God.
The thing for me watching it was when Obi comes in, he comes in on this like chair. If you're a fan of Terry Gilliam, you've seen this style used in Brazil specifically. Mm-hmm. And that chair, I'm pretty sure, is in 12 Monkeys. Like it is the design work is straight out of Brazil because the concept of the TVA is kind of like the ministry in Brazil. Like it becomes this corporatized version of something that you think shouldn't be corporatized, which is, the timelines and the breaches. Yeah. But it has these people who make it function. And then you even get this really, like, you could have made a suit for Owen Wilson at the end of this episode that would have been like, Star Trek like, that showed him mobile. But no, they made it bulky and weird because you are fighting literal time and space out there, it will eat you away.
That tube you hate that comes out of your dryer? That's what's attached to Mobius' suit.
Man, I loved how that ending kind of built to and ended with him running for the door, and you're like, he is not going to make it. Like, that's not going to happen. And then you see Loki take it out with one of those sticks, but it's from behind, and you don't know who killed him.
Yeah.
You guys have theories on who you think Loki took that shot from?
So we know that Sylvie is in the elevator in front of him. So, you know what? I think it was Mobius
himself.
Yeah. Because then he knows that he saves himself as well, but also he wants to save Loki. What a fucking show. It was such a good first episode to bring us back. Even though we didn't get a lot of Renslayer, we didn't even get a lot of the hunters like B-15. We do need a new hunter called X5. We get to see the judges who are character actors from like other places because I know the General Dogs or Zox, whatever. I think she was from Game of Thrones, and I also saw some articles about the main judge. Like she's also been in like other stuff.
You know the role she played in Game of Thrones, right?
The general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she was the one that was breastfeeding the kid.
Yeah,
when he was like 12.
Yeah, she was. I forget the name of the town, but yeah. Oh, I was well aware of the moon door. I was like, "Where's the moon door gonna show up?" And then we travel like for the end credits. We travel to the 80s to Broxton, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
which is
at McDonald's.
Well, I mean, first that's from the comics. Like that's where Asgard shows up when it's destroyed. And
that's true. That's true.
Like that's what that. I mean, I don't know if it's an Easter egg or if it's going to be part of the story.
But it's also the 80s, so we don't even have heroes at this point. Captain America's still on ice. Captain Marvel doesn't show up to the 90s. The only idea of any kind of hero at this point might be a younger version of Red Guardian.
Well, Ant-Man's running around, right?
That's true. He could be in there any time and place.
And Thor and Loki can still be running around this time period too. I mean, come on,
Yeah, that's true. He could see his younger self. That would be really wild to see a younger Thor and Loki.
That would be fun. I mean, we've kind of seen him in that little room where they helped Loki. That was fun.
And of all the tie-ins, I know that we've seen that there's like a Loki sauce that McDonald's is having. Why doesn't McDonald's bring back that 80s look for some of their stores? Because that nostalgia hit was so cool. Just to see the place.
They should do pop-up locations.
Yeah.
Another thing, I was watching New Rockstars and they were like, it's funny because the kid that's trying to sell, he's really pushing the chicken nuggets because they had just introduced the nuggets like around the 80s.
Yeah.
Which is I can't picture McDonald's without chicken nuggets. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. We'll probably talk more about the show as the weeks go on. But it's so good, and it shows you how important these writers and actors are to this.
Oh shit!
Because the show looked like it's one of the shows that is shot really like in real sets, as opposed to like that volume. Like, which I love the volume, right? It's a really cool piece of technology, but like things like Mobius writing skin on the dust in the computer,
and then it's showing up.
I love how worried he was about getting skin. Not so much that he would die right afterwards, or probably, but the losing his skin part. Anyways.
But it was a great storytelling device to show the time change and stuff, because you weren't sure if he was how far in the future he was showing up, where he was going. But I loved the way the effect pulled him apart and put him back together. And then Mobius explaining it. It's like watching you die and be reborn each time. And it's horrifying.
And another thing, just real quick, and we'll wrap up this part, but whenever Loki was in the past, there was already something going on. There was a crisis going on. So not only was the He Who Remains or maybe Kangs or the Council of Kangs, I guess they were running the place at the time, they were creating these crises for the TVA to be busy doing stuff. So I feel like that was a cycle. They're showing us that that's a cycle of like, something happens and then there's a crisis that starts and goes on. So, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So very excited to see where the season goes. All right. So while Clay gets back, Kyle, did you watch AHSOKA?
Oh yeah, I watched all 8 episodes.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. I'm glad. Because so the reason we're doing AHSOKA, we weren't really planning on doing it yet. But Josh is in here, and Josh is the one that was behind. So we're like, all right, let's talk about it. So yeah, let's get into it. Over like high level thoughts. What did you think of the series?
I loved it. I definitely, and Clay will probably argue this one, but it definitely beats out Mandalorian season 3.
Okay, I mean that's definitely one of the least popular season for sure.
Yeah. For me, I think of all the TV series that have been out so far, I think Mandalorian season 2 still hits the highest level. This one, I think, almost hits number 2, beating up Mandalorian season 1 only because of a few things. And because it was that last episode, I feel like they could have done at least one more. I feel like I felt like the story was going progressively well throughout the whole thing, and then you just get that last episode, and it's like I think they tried to cram too much into one thing. So it was like.
Okay. Now we will get into spoilers, so make sure if you haven't seen the show, come back. But
yeah,
I think. Oh, I guess my other question, and I'll ask Clay when he gets back. Have you seen all the Rebels and Clone Wars? Like, are you caught up on everything?
Clone Wars, no. Rebels, yes.
Okay.
I even rewatched all of Rebels before I watched AHSOKA. So
nice. Okay, because I think this was not so much pitched as, but like I think people felt that it would be like a new season of Rebels just based on all the characters they were bringing in.
It was sort of Rebels season 5.
Yeah, kind of. Except I'm a little upset we didn't get any Zeb.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that can still come into because the way the show ended, that it's either, and I only say this, we're either going to get a season 2 or they've already announced they already plan on doing a set of movies that's going to tie in all the TV series together. So
that's also what I'm wondering. So I think I like the series fine enough. I think the beginning, and we'll get more into it, but the first few episodes are a little bit slow for me.
The first one maybe a little bit. I didn't think, but by episode 2, I was fine where it was going. The episode 1, I knew some people complained it was like it went too slow, and I thought maybe it was a little slow, but I didn't think it was anywhere near as bad as what they said. By season 2, I was in and everything, and especially when you finally bring in like when Anakin shows up, that's where it really
so that's where it hooks for me. So I wish we had compressed the first few episodes so we could spend more time in the latter half, like exploring Peridea, or maybe an episode trying to see like what Ezra had been up to in Peridea.
I almost feel like this could have been a 10 episode, and I would have been fine with it.
Because
I'm okay with the build we got before they went to Peridea. I like the build up that it took to get there.
Yeah, because I've always liked the magic stuff on Star Wars because it's different from the Force.
Well, yeah, and the thing, and this even proves it's like this takes us out of the normal Star Wars galaxy, and this opens up doors for a lot more stuff to happen.
Yeah, and I mean,
they mentioned it like never once. I mean, the Jedi are basically samurai, but never once do you ever use any Japanese terminology to describe them as samurai. But in that last episode, they actually, I think it's what's her name?
Ray Stevenson calls Ahsoka a Ronin. Oh
exactly.
no, sorry,
exactly.
Thrawn calls her a Ronin.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Like and the thing that I'm going to say this right now. The thing that gets me, I think it was episode 6, or it was 6. But that's the episode when Sabine gets to Peridea. It's the opening scene when basically it's Ahsoka and Yang in the ship inside the whale's mouth. And they're talking about, hey, would you like me to tell you one of the old tales? And she's like, no. And then they start talking. Just maybe you should tell me one of the tales. It'll be your choice. And he just opens up that one line, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I got chills when I started thinking about, has Yang been the one telling us the whole Star Wars story from day one?
Yeah, like are the other movies like tales that they've been telling throughout the
exactly, and and it leaves a whole lot to be now like they said that they want to expand in other areas. It's going to get past the Skywalker story and everything. And even though we're still sort of in the Skywalker area, they've opened up doors to where they can explore a lot more outside the normal setting.
Yeah. Like I said, once that episode, I mean, I like stuff before. Like I think the fighting was cool. That Marok, I think whatever that character was with the lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
He was kind of like a red herring of like, oh, look at this cool character that maybe it's an Inquisitor or something.
Yeah, we get no idea who he is. He just dies and that's it.
Yeah, so that always kind of sets you up, like fans just trying to figure out like who is it, like who is that character, or why can they use the Force or whatever. So
and just by the ending that they weren't expecting Ray Stevenson's death, because
of course. Yeah, which, man, what a freaking tragedy too, because I mean, obviously the loss of a person, but I would say he was the best actor on the series. Like I think we have a lot of good performances, but Ray Stevenson just like he brought like I don't know, he made it just first of all, he has a really good look for like a Force wielder that's kind of it's almost as if he's the flip side of that old Luke that we see in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Where instead of he's also disappointed with everything in the system that they've created, but instead of disconnecting from the Force, he's actually actively trying to change it and fix it.
Yeah, like I don't get the feel like he's officially evil. I feel like he's more misguided.
Yeah. Yeah, like he doesn't know. I thought they were gonna bring in the Bendu for a little while.
Well, and the thing is, like, he wants to bring Thrawn back because he thinks Thrawn will bring order, but it's like you realize Thrawn is evil. It's.
I think as soon as they met, he was like, "Oh, this is not the answer."
Yeah. And there are times I think Thrawn's a more interesting character than any of the other characters we've had, more than Tarkin, more than Vader, more than Palpatine.
Now, have you read any of the Thrawn books?
I know about them, but I haven't actually read them.
Okay, so I haven't either. Well, I read They adapted the first one. They adapted it into a comic series.
Here's the interesting part. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong on this, I think the book series Heir to the Empire is supposed to take 5 years after Jedi. This is taking place 5 years after Jedi.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you realize Thrawn is new heir to the Empire, so I'm curious where they're going to go with all this.
Filoni's like, these are the Legends things that I like, so we're gonna bring them back.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think that whole, there's a lot of really cool stuff in the Legends. Like some really fun stuff. Some of it goes really off the rails, probably. Like there's a lot of clones of Luke running around out there or whatever, and all that. But I think Filoni kind of knows like to pick and choose like what things are gonna be fun to bring back into the canon. And yeah, he's just really good, I think, at telling you like these are all the things. This is how everything's kind of connected. He shows you like the bigger picture.
Exactly.
But I think it was just very slowly. But once we could start seeing it, yeah.
Well, and I like how they still tied into other series because there's that one thing. It's episode 7. I want to say it's episode 7. Basically, you have Hera on trial for disobeying orders and everything, and 3PO shows up, and they're talking about how like there's no proof that there's any Imperial problems happening, and you have, I always forget the guy's name, but Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
What about what happened on Mandalorian? And they talk about Griff. What was his name?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But they make reference to that in season 3, and then he was just like this one fluke that happened.
Yeah, he was like a rogue thing or whatever. Where even at the beginning of the series, we as the people, there's
a council of different factions of Imperial planning stuff.
Yeah, and like, what the hell? Like, this is it angers me like as like how the Republic is so inefficient and so dumb, and they just let bad things happen.
And this is what pisses me off a little bit, because we already have the new trilogy, so we know what's going to happen in the future, like 30 years in the future with Rey and all that shit. And now it pisses me off because the TV series that we've gotten has been so much better, and knowing the fact, well, okay, this is 5 years after, but what's going to happen all this time period? But we know what the outcome is. I don't want to know what the outcome is. I want to see the buildup going there. It's like I don't want to know what's going to happen. I don't want to know about Rey or any of that anymore. I want to see where we're going now with the TV series. I want to be surprised, and that kind of pisses me off.
It's like they just let it happen, because you see General Hux as part of that. Well, the dad General Hux, he's part of that council too.
Yeah,
but I'm excited. I like Thrawn. I think he was a really fun character in Rebels, and I'm glad they just gave Lars Mikkelsen the chance to because he used to voice him, but now like to actually portray in real life.
Yeah, and he's got the Dark Mothers there with him, so he's got a different evil magical power, not Jedi, not the Force. It's something different, and that's.
I almost feel like he saw, because in Rebels he felt like he could always deal with the Force and all that stuff. Like he could out maneuver it with just like his military might.
And I love the fact, like, when there's an episode, I think it was episode 6, he goes, I want all the information on AHSOKA Tano. And he gets and he reads it, and they've announced it, like he knew, he's one of the few people that knew Anakin was Vader. And when he read that she was the apprentice of her mentor was Anakin Skywalker, he's like going, oh. And he built this whole plan on how to deal with her.
In the third Thrawn book, that's kind of the premise of it. Him and Vader and Thrawn have to go on this mission together and work together, and then you get flashbacks of Thrawn working with Anakin, or I guess not working with, but maybe working with. I don't know. I don't know the timeline exactly, but that's how he figures it out, because of like how similar they. Like he figures out, kind of like Tim Drake figured out who Batman was.
Exactly.
Very similar, just like by his smarts. But Lars did he looked good. I like how he kind of he looked a little beaten up. Like he's
been stuck in this plan for 10 years. After a while, even the most, like, even the guy who, like, there was never once in him that he started to worry. Like he realized in his head he calculates everything. So every time he's like saying, this didn't work out, okay, let's try this. He never really lost composure.
Yeah, he's got backups upon backups.
Exactly.
Clay's back. We're done talking about AHSOKA Clay, so we're gonna close out the show.
Yeah.
I figured my dogs are wandering the yard and I can't get control of them because they're old and blind and deaf. So
No, that's fine. I'm just kidding. Let me ask you what I asked Kyle to begin with. But I guess I'll invert the order of the questions though. Have you seen Clone Wars and Rebels, like all that stuff?
nope.
Okay, good, because we both have. So I think we have a theoretically a leg up on you as far
I
as
haven't
like.
really watched much of Clone Wars, but I've seen enough and know about the characters and like the stuff. Really, I know about it.
Okay, I'm glad we have three different because I've seen all of it. I love Clone Wars.
But I was telling him I rewatched Rebels before I watched Ahsoka.
Yeah, see, and I got interested, and I never make it past season 1 of Rebels. I've made it
Just
into,
skip it.
I think, just skip it.
That's what I did. I watched the recap. Like, yeah, because it was definitely like aimed at a younger audience, and then they kind of
I would
just
at least watch like maybe the final 2 episodes of season 1 and then go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Clone Wars, I made it through like to the second or third season, and then just kind of nothing kept me going. And it was always Anakin. Anytime Anakin was kind of brought in, I was kind of like, it wasn't that big of a deal the way he's brought in Ahsoka.
I think Disney Plus made like a list of like, here's some of the things you may want to watch, because there's definitely a lot of, I guess not everything relates to this story, right?
Yeah,
there's some other adventures out there for sure, but the stuff with Ahsoka. But my next question was high level thoughts. What did you think of the series?
I loved it.
Carefully.
I did love it. I love Rosario Dawson most of all.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think if she hadn't brought Ahsoka to life, I would have different opinions. But I always like what she does and what she's bringing to the table. Obviously, this is a much older Ahsoka, so she's more, I guess, trained in the ways of the Jedi, has more focus. So she isn't like this kid that you had seen in Clone Wars. I didn't know that she had started to train Sabine. Was that something that was in the comic or in the cartoon?
In the Rebels, yeah.
Well, no, she never really trained her. It was Kanan trained her with the ways of the lightsaber.
I guess she was training with Kanan, but at the end of Rebels, like the implication is that
she goes off
together.
But you never knew that she never knew she was her Padawan.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it was never official. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Okay. So
the other question I have though is Hella's kid. Who's the
Hera?
dad?
Kanan, basically Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character that was in Rebels.
Okay.
I wish we had gotten a Freddie Prinze Jr. Force Ghost.
But he's already said he doesn't want to come back. Where he thinks it was done like the way he died. He's like, I think he's had issues with Disney, so he doesn't want to come back. To the series.
If you have issues with Disney, you're not going to work much.
He's doing other shit.
I know, but I just think Disney has such a hold on the entertainment industry. Like, even if you want to do other things, you might as well.
He's doing other stuff. Like he just directed a movie for a Lifetime, so he's happy doing the other stuff.
They don't own Scooby Doo, so he can always come back as
Freddy.
Okay, so I was telling Kyle I like the series better on the second half. I thought there was some pacing stuff on the first before we get to that other planet and then they fight and Ahsoka falls in the water.
Because the Hayden Christensen appearance at that moment broke me, and I said, I don't think I can watch this. Like I really felt like that was not necessary until the next episode, where they explained the master and apprentice relationship. You'll always be apart no matter what.
No. You also don't realize it because you haven't watched Rebels.
Yeah.
When he wakes up, that place with all the moving past him. That's the world between worlds. If you had seen Rebels, you'd understand why that's significant and how she sees Anakin there. So that's why that even plays.
And that's what bums me out about this, is that you have to have gone in with other shit. And that's kind of what we're looking at in our world now, is with franchises like this. Well, if you had seen this would be more powerful. If I'd seen Rebels, the ending to the series would have been more powerful. The reuniting, all the different elements that were just kind of like, oh, well, I know of them.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine, like, kids who are trying to get into Marvel movies going, well, wait a minute, I got to go all the way back to 2008 and watch all that shit up to now. Like that's kind of the impression I get with a lot of these IPs is like, we're going to have so much history. You could become, you could get a PhD in Star Wars lore.
I'm fine with it.
I mean,
is that a course being offered somewhere?
Yeah, I'll take
it. But on some level, you have to carry a lot of knowledge to go into some of these stories, and that's, I think, is what is going to hurt these massive.
I'm already dealing with Star Trek, so I can deal with the Star Wars.
And
Transformers and He-Man. I mean, you want me to keep going? I'm fine with this going on.
I know, but you have a PhD in all those. Like like the fact that I didn't watch like Rebels reduced my enjoyment of this series.
Yeah.
I mean, in
better Clone Wars. A big part of why I really love Episode 5 when they're in the world between worlds is seeing the younger version of Ahsoka.
Yeah,
with a live action Hayden Christensen wearing that, like, the Attack of the Clones armor, or like, and those transitions of, first he's Anakin, like a young Anakin, then he's a little older, then he's like the Force Ghost Anakin, and then he's like Darth Vader Anakin, like when they have that last fight, and then he's walking through the smoke, and then he kind of like transforms into the, like, obviously this is all in Ahsoka's, this is all kind of being fueled by Ahsoka's mind, because she knows all that. She's fought Vader. She fights Vader in Rebels. Spoiler, sorry, Clay.
And apparently dies in Rebels.
Yeah.
Wait, this Ahsoka the White gives me the impression that there was some sort of death that happened when she fell off the cliff. There was something that's changed about her that is different than the character we began the series with. Am I wrong?
There's definitely a change. Yeah. I think even in her performance, like, she was more like loosey goosey, like, like
there was a like disgruntledness and kind of like almost lost of hope with Ezra as the Gray. But when she comes back, she is more optimistic than any time I've ever seen her in any series.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's optimistic about how she's going to deal with Sabine. She's optimistic about, hey, we found Ezra. We can take on Thrawn. We're going to be fine. I mean, and even the end of these series, she's like, this is where we're meant to be. Like, we have an optimistic Ahsoka, but she's Ahsoka the White.
She realizes she can be more. She has to be more flexible and just kind of like flow with things. Just real quick, Leonard came in the chat. Having no previous background knowledge wasn't an issue for me, but I definitely don't know a lot of the Easter eggs and references. Yeah.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you.
But I do recommend it.
But you can't say relationships or Easter eggs. Like, that's the thing, is like when she's reunited with Ezra, that means nothing to me as someone who's never watched Rebels. It's just,
I think they did especially, I really like Ezra's the portrayal. Like, it does feel like old friends getting back together.
This is what I love. The actor who plays Ezra is from Laredo, Texas.
Oh, cool.
Good deal.
And has a degree from UT Austin in economics.
Nice. Isn't this the weekend, the Red River Shootout?
I think so.
Is it? I don't go outside.
If you're downtown at the State Fair, good luck.
Yeah. This is OU Texas weekend. Yeah, trust
me. So I think that was.
Oh, it's happening right now.
Yeah. We're gonna stream it. We're gonna stream the game, guys, and get really shut down by YouTube.
Tie game 7-7 in the third quarter.
Oh wow.
Oh, interesting. So I think the heart of the show for me was Hu Yang.
Oh my god,
so good.
Yeah,
like he's bringing all this knowledge of 500 years of training.
He has seen everything.
I was gonna say, I thought it was a lot longer.
He's seen 25,000 years.
He's seen the highs and the lows of the Jedi Order. He's lost everything, right? But he's also a droid, so like. He's
we're talking about Ray Stevenson. I gotta go one over. He was awesome, but Tenet, even if he's only voicing the robot, Tenet's what really he's the one who stole the show for me.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Ray Stevenson gave the best performance overall.
The actual live action human, but when it came to like you just listened to, you saw everything. Like everything about Tenet as Hu Yang just resonated. Like there was nothing I could ever complain about. I could watch the whole series based on him.
Yeah, David Tennant gave the best Star Wars performance, which to me is like, this feels like Star Wars. Like,
yeah, exactly.
the dialogue feels like Star Wars. The tone and the theme of the things he's talking about.
Just the opening scene in episode 8, where basically, he's talking like Ezra's trying to rebuild a new lightsaber, and he goes, you're Kanan. I helped Kanan learn how to, build his lightsaber. And he's like, what? And he goes, I had this last piece, and it's a replica of Kanan's original lightsaber. And he goes, here, and it's like
young Caleb Dune.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Really.
Every time he spoke, and I was telling him that one of my favorite moments that gave me chills. The one moment in that whole series that gave me chills. Opening up episode 6, it's Ahsoka and Yang in the ship in the whale's mouth, and she's like, eventually she gets a little frustrated. And goes, maybe you should tell me one of the stories, and you tell me whatever you want. And he just opens up and goes, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I'm like, wait a second, is he the one who's been telling us this story since episode 1? I mean, I'm like going, oh my god, this makes so much sense.
That would be great.
One aspect that I really like, especially in the finale, like I really like the introduction of magic, but why haven't they done more Star Wars horror? Because when the zombies, when the troopers, dude, when the troopers rise up and like they are zombies, like I think there's one of the death troopers, like Sabine starts shooting it in the face, and then the mask
you see the mouth, the decayed mouth.
Yeah.
It's like the walkers from Walking Dead to an extent, like how decayed they are. It's like, oh my god.
But I love that we get this knowledge that there are very few that are alive. Like Thrawn wants to use his resources, but on a very limited basis. He only sends few out to go do things like whether it's ships, like he just sends 2 TIE fighters, and everything's disposable to him because it's a resource and it's not a person.
It's disposable, yes, but he's still very careful how he uses his resources.
He's calculated. He's very calculated. And this is what I was telling him. It's like, and we got a little bit of Thrawn in Rebels, and even now, Thrawn to me has been a more interesting character than Tarkin, Vader, or Palpatine I've ever been in the fucking Star Wars lore to me.
It's just weird that he looks like Elon. It's so weird that he looks like Elon Musk, but he's like a classier version, like an adult Elon.
But that's how he's looked ever before we ever knew who Elon Musk was.
Well, in Heir to the Empire, like he's on the cover of books. That's the first time we see him. Then we see the animated version. But this actor, like I've seen him with a beard, doesn't look like him, but like shaven with the blue face and just the attitude of like, I have all the resources I need. I can just pretty much do whatever I want.
I think
kind of thing, except for he needs this magic. He needs this magic to get him back into power.
I think to quote Adrian, I don't know, all you white people look alike. So, real quick in the chat, Promiscuous Time Traveler. My favorite aspect of the show was the dialogue. Hu Yang made me laugh. He was really funny. Yeah. Balin blew me away. I wanted to not like the role because we won't be able to see him anymore, but I was proven wrong and upset. Yeah, I don't know what the plan is, of course, because the way it ends, like, so Clay, another thing unfortunately you don't know because of you didn't see the Rebels and stuff. I guess this was Clone Wars. There's an arc where we visit this place called Mortis, where we meet the father. Like, these are Force beings, the father, the brother, and the daughter. And at the end, when we see that statue that Ray Stevenson's standing in, I think he is taking the role of the father, or maybe he's the reincarnation of this father figure.
He looked like the statue with the beard.
Yeah, they definitely made him look like that. I know we haven't talked much about it. I really like Shin Hati, like, as a character, until she was kind of, I think unfortunately she just kind of got moved off the board.
Yep.
But I liked her. I like how she was kind of like having the same issues, but in reverse with Sabine and Ahsoka as their relationship, right? Like, she was very ambitious, which is like complete opposite of what Balin wanted at the time. Like, he had his own plans, and she obviously had different plans. But the way she fought, I thought that was very cool, like very angry. I think I wish we had a little bit more time, or if we had compressed some of those first few episodes to live more on the second half of the show. I think I would have liked it more.
I would have been fine if this was a 10-episode series. The way they're explaining everything, 10 episodes would have been great.
Leonard Kim saying anything in the chat. Ahsoka should have been at least 10 episodes. Certain characters like Baylan Shin didn't get good enough resolution, and Ahsoka began to feel like a background character as we got closer to the finale. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, this is the Dave Filoni got to play in the Star Wars universe with the cartoon, and then was able to play in the real world with actors and bring them to life. So he got to go through and create these toys, and now he's playing in the sandbox with his own toys. And I think that's great. But I also will say, in just him picking up regular Star Wars stuff, like the shows he touches are great too. Well, I just feel like this is so tied to that show that it should have been required reading or required viewing.
Daniel, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't read them, but if I remember reading what stuff I read online, I think Heir to the Empire is supposed to take 5 years after Jedi. And then
I thought it took place between Empire and Jedi.
No, Heir to the Empire takes place. It's after the fall of Palpatine. So the reason
I haven't read it since the 90s.
Heir becomes because Thrawn is a new threat for the Imperial forces coming back in the books. So if I'm not mistaken, Heir takes place after 5 years after Jedi, and this is taking place 5 years after Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's them kind of creating Heir to the Empire. Thrawn's back, and now we might be looking at like their version of Heir to the Empire coming up.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else we need to touch on Ahsoka before we kind of
y'all talk about Ray Stevenson?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I do want to talk more about Ray Stevenson. I actually pulled up his letterbox. So that's kind of how I want to close out this part of the show. But I want to let me get this comment in. My fascination with Dave Filoni has fallen off. The genius of Star Wars animation was more of a collective. Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways Dave Filoni is the heir to the Empire from George, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I think he's also got to evolve. I think he's also inspired a lot of people that hopefully will eventually take up some of the mantle and bring in some new ideas, because like you said, you can, as a creative, you can get stuck on your own world for too long, and maybe that that doesn't appeal to everyone. But he also knows some of the heartstrings to pull. He knows the little things to show the fans, like deep lore fans that have been watching everything, especially the things he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm of kind of two minds about that, but I do get that for sure. I get that sentiment. All right. Anything else on Ahsoka? Are you guys gonna go, Claire? Are you gonna go watch Rebels now?
I keep having it up in one tab going, well, maybe. And then it just kind of sits there. It's like, it's Halloween for me. So it's like, I want to throw on another horror movie or watch something, for this month. I don't know why. I think that first season kind of just hurt me but it limits me from wanting to pursue it further, because it just feels like it's not part of the universe. If that makes sense.
Baby, don't hurt me. No.
But my only comments on Ray Stevenson were like, my favorite line of the series is him talking about the Jedi versus the Sith and the Empire versus the New Order, that it was all kind of great in theory. Like the idea of it is great, but the actual practice of it. And I think we've seen that through a lot of the series is no matter who's in charge, the poor stay poor, the rich stay rich, and it doesn't really matter to the people. It's just the governing bodies of who they want to wage war with. And that to me is like the perfect analogy of like real world politics. I mean, we see it in Andor probably the best, because they do take a political stance in that one, that those choices hurt the little people in the end. And that's why it's easy to see people easily side with the Empire, like we saw in here. Like, even though you have someone else take over, you still have those loyalties to evil. And all those people that were running it was a junkyard of old Empire equipment that was being reused, that they built something for use for the Empire.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole room was filled with spies. Like, how many more exist like that?
Yeah. Or like when they go to that shipyard, the Empire's still running things, and the fucking New Republic just kind of sitting there sucking their thumb. Anyway, so also thanks to Ray Stevenson, if you go to our Instagram, he's given us one of our most played reels with 125K views with his
What?
Oh,
idea of it.
Hold on.
I miss the idea of it. But not the truth. The weakness. I miss...
Not the weakness. So, thank you. Go on Instagram.
I do love the midnight movies. I miss those. You know, for a long time, you know, I camped out for all the Star Wars movies that came out in the early 2000s. And even I have better memories of the camp out than I do of the films. Like that part of Star Wars is key. It's the fandom.
I don't miss my I don't miss the, what do you call it?
The lack of sleep and
taking for my seat.
Yeah. I hated, you know, what was wild though is when we went, I'm trying to remember which one, if it was episode 1, 2, or 3, that when I think it's episode 1, we all got into the theater and some motherfucker pulled out a laser light and the audience gonna kill the dude. They had to get theater people in to drag him out because everyone in the audience lost their shit that somebody would shine that on the screen. And it was before the film.
I love that our audience gets it. I miss them, but I also miss more sleep. Like Carlos, my body can't handle midnight releases anymore.
No shit. I remember episode 2 that I had stayed awake for so long, and then where I had camped out, I like took a nap in the sun and woke up so sick from just from the sun, and then had to go into the movie theater and watch episode 2, and I'm just like and I felt so bad.
We watched we went to watch King Kong at midnight. That was a bad idea because that's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. I saw it.
I fell asleep when the monkey was climbing the building. By the time I woke up, he was on the ground.
So you missed the movie.
Oh yeah. Spoiler: monkey dies.
No. Well, how's he gonna fight the Justice League?
Exactly.
Because it's coming.
Multiverse.
Right. Real quick to close out, I'm on once again my favorite website, Letterboxd. Looking at Ray Stevenson's filmography. This is by billing order, I guess. I think.
Who was he in Thor?
He was one of the 3. He was what's his name? The big one.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
So he was in all the Thor movies. I don't remember him from the Divergent series.
I never watched
I've never watched one of those movies.
I liked the first one, and then I watched.
Who was he in G.I. Joe?
I don't know, but I mean, he has a really big presence. If you haven't seen RRR, I recommend it. It's really good.
Hold on.
He's like a British colonizer.
I mean, his Punisher is one of my favorites. Because that movie knows the violence and how to do it.
He's also in one of these 3 Musketeers.
He was Firefly.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Cool.
I thought so.
I'll never go watch that again, but it's good to know.
He was in the Transporter Refueled. I think these are getting a little more. What the hell's Accident Man? Interesting.
And what? Accident Man?
That's what's his name? He's really famous for his action movies.
Well, that helps.
Scott Adkins.
And Scott Adkins. Yes.
Okay.
And then it gets real. Yeah, I don't know these movies, but yeah, I mean, like I said, great. I mean, I'm sure this doesn't even include TV shows, but I guess I should watch more Ray Stevenson movies. Maybe I
may have to go watch Accident Man. It's got Michael J. White in it too.
Oh, cool. Maybe I'll watch. What is it? Which King Arthur is this one? 2004. Is this a really long one?
Which one's not a really long one?
Yeah,
I know.
Oh, this is the one with Clive Owen, Antoine Fuqua. Okay, maybe I'll watch this. Looks cool.
Same one with Keira Knightley as
Mads Mikkelsen's in this. Oh, Joel Edgerton. I'm in.
Uncle Owen.
Yeah, Stellan Skarsgård.
It's so wild. Uncle Owen, Joel Edgerton plays Uncle Owen in the Star Wars prequels, and then just becomes the biggest fucking star.
Yeah. Joel
Accident Man is on Tubi for free and Pluto and Roku if you want to check it out.
Nice. All right. Let's close out the show real quick. Let me make... No, I don't have any announcements. So, do you guys have any recommendations? Now, Kyle, you sent something on the chat. Do you want me to
Yeah,
pull
this
it
was
up?
a pop I found at Target about 2 weeks ago. I didn't pick it up yet, but I need to.
Clay, hold on. Let me share it so everybody else can also enjoy.
Guys, we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of a Marvel special.
Did you read the one shot?
Yeah.
Oh, the Halloween special. Is it a Man Thing?
No.
Oh, that would be awesome too. No, but hold on.
It's the werewolf.
Werewolf by Night.
I did buy the Man Thing, the 6-inch Man Thing, black and white. No, that was gonna get clipped. I'll show you guys my 6-inch Man Thing later on.
Okay, as we're going rated R, not triple X, but come on.
Well, then I'll go get my 12-inch Man Thing and show you.
Oh, I have got no Man Thing to show you guys.
All right,
I have the Build-A-Fig of Man Thing.
Clay, I left your recommendation from last time because I don't think we got to it, right?
Yeah. It so if any of you follow Kelly Sue DeConnick on any of the social media platforms, once a year she does a Visible Women hashtag to show artists and writers that are in the comic book industry that may not be talked about as much because they're women or they're working independent. So they always try to have a day where they bring out their portfolio and try to spotlight them on the social media of choice. Now they've created a podcast. So Visible Women is a podcast from the Visible Women Project, which provides a platform for women and individuals from other marginalized genders in the comics industry to develop and showcase their talents, connect with industry professionals, and pave their way to successful careers. I've seen amazing art portfolios of women that aren't working. It's amazing to see some of this artwork that's out there. But their first episode is with Kelly Sue. So check it out.
Nice. Well, my pick's not as poignant, but still fun, I think. I'm going to recommend a new Batman book, City of Madness. This is by Christian Ward. He's writing and doing the art. It's a Black Label book, so you can kind of get into it. As you can see, the Court of Owls is going to be a part of it. So I'm very excited.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff. This is Bill Sienkiewicz.
Nice.
This is Martin Simmons. Damn.
Whoa.
They just really want me to pick all these books up, huh? And then this is another Christian Ward. This is a 1 in 50. I doubt I'll ever even see it.
I hate that. I hate the 1 in 50s because they're always great and they're hard to find.
I mean, I can't think of a shop that order 50 copies of a book.
Zeus usually carries them.
I will say they do pick up a lot. The last thing I'll say on Transformers, because I was talking to Jeremy over at Titan when I picked it up, and I asked him like, so how's the book selling? Obviously, it's selling very well.
Yeah.
He told me that prior to this series, he only ordered 1 copy of Transformers, like the series. Like that's how bad the sales were.
Wow.
The previous iteration of it. And because it was funny when I asked him, he's like, I ordered 30 times what I usually order. But then he explained that he was only ordering 1. So he only ordered 30 copies. He's like, I probably could have sold more, but I'll wait till issue 5 and then tell you if this book is really a success. Because I think issue 1's obviously sold very well.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm buying 4 different variants of it.
Issue 2 is the big drop off.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll ask him again in like 5 months, like how many he's ordering now. Because that's when people subscribe and stuff. So
I asked Aaron about it because he goes, the problem with IPs like this, he goes, this obviously is written by a Transformer fan at a certain period that they enjoyed and has taken it to the adult level. He goes, but Transformer fans as a whole, just like, I want the cartoon, but this way. I just want like what I enjoy and never have it grow or be different. I just kind of want that in comic book form.
Yeah.
And he goes, so you get fans that will buy the first issue and then go, this isn't what I'm used to, and stop buying it. He goes, but this will draw in new fans who go, oh, this is a different take. I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, Dana Warren Johnson's also a big draw, I think, himself.
Love his artwork, man. His cover, he's doing variant covers that are always slamming.
Yeah. So, yeah, I recommend also like I said, go check out his video. He does lives every Fridays with D-Dubs, and yeah, he's just a lot of fun. He goes into a lot of detail for that. So, cool. I think that's it. That's all we have. So, thank you guys. We'll probably be back next week. We'll see. Stay tuned to our socials. Stay tuned. We have a bunch of reviews that are coming out for Halloween movies that I'm watching. This week I did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003, which is my favorite.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I love that movie. It was my introduction to kind of that horror.
Hello, Snyderverse lover.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I guess it is the same. It's a where'd Clay go? I guess it is. It does have that dirty, grimy vibe that it's very.
All his movies have.
Not also, like the first one, man. That first one is just dirty. Like you feel the heat of Texas in the van when they're traveling.
So in this one you do too. There's a shot. They arrange a shot where you go through the bullet hole in her head. Also, growing up, big fan of Jessica Biel. You know.
Well, yeah. Okay, let's break it down. Jessica Biel dancing around in a crop top shirt. Yeah, you know, that may make you want to enjoy that a little bit more.
Hey,
I have heard good things about Haunted Mansion, not the Eddie Murphy one, but the new one.
Rosario Dawson's in it, so that's probably a plus for Clay. But yeah, I'll be watching more stuff. I did also watch Leatherface from 2017. I won't be as kind as that movie's garbage. So I'll be dropping that later on this week, but for those watching the live. And yeah, more stuff like that. Wheel of Time just finished too. So we have reviews for all that on the channel. I'm always sad when that ends because then I don't get to make more videos because people are really interactive with those. So we'll see what else comes out. But I think that's it. I think we got a good show. So we'll see what happens next week.
All right.
Thanks for the people in the chat. Leonard Kim, Carlos, Promiscuous Time Traveler, Delacommon, and J of W, who left us a little cat at the beginning of the stream. Yeah. I think it's a little cat.
I think it's got whiskers.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes this generation, I don't know what their emojis mean.
The kids have a new way to talk.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. And of course, as always, I never find the outro when I need to. There it is. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
That wasn't the outro. Fuck. That was the other clip of Clem.
Oh my god.
Do you need to dig in there?
I got it.
The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room. Right here. Right now. Salute, mi familia.
Salute. Salute. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Loves you.
Oh, yeah. Clay?
Hail, Bebo.
Josh?
Simon Center, get the fuck out.